Qantas, often referred to as Australia's favorite airline, has recently found itself involved in a series of scandals that have left a once revered company in disarray. For years, Qantas has been synonymous with the spirit of Australia, the best that country has to offer. As the country's flag carrier, it embodied a sense of national pride and provided the nation with connectivity. Yet, in a matter of months, it has transitioned from a true icon to a company accused of corporate greed, failing its customers and tarnishing its reputation in ways that will take years to recover from. This isn't just another corporate misstep. Qantas is a deeply established part of Australian identity. To understand the depth of the backlash the airline is facing today, we need to take a step back in time. Qantas wasn't always the giant it is today. It all started back in 1920 when the airline was founded, with the official operations beginning in 1922. Initially using 2 aircraft, Qantas began offering regular mail and passenger services in Australia. And it didn't take long for the company to build a strong base of supporters, many of whom were ordinary Australians eager to take advantage of air travel. Back then, traveling by air wasn't something everyone could afford, but those who could also became investors in the company, demonstrating early on the sense of ownership that Australians would come to feel toward Qantas. In its early years, Qantas made a significant leap when it expanded its services internationally. In 1935, it flew its first scheduled international flight to Singapore. The company didn't stop there. It began developing a flying boat service connecting Australia with the United Kingdom, a feat that, for the time, was an enormous logistical challenge. After the war, Qantas became a government-owned entity in 1947. The government took over when Qantas faced financial strain and the need for modern aircraft. Over the next few decades, Qantas expanded its fleet and routes, becoming one of the most respected airlines in the world. It led the way in the jet age, becoming the first airline outside the United States to operate the Boeing 707 in 1959, and introducing the iconic Boeing 747 in 1971. In 1995, Qantas was privatized once again, and in 1998, it became a founding member of the One World Alliance, a group of major international airlines. The company's success reached new heights in the late 20th century, particularly with the introduction of its frequent flyer program in 1987. This program became incredibly popular, with Qantas's membership quickly growing to include more than half of Australia's population, a statistic that underlined the close connection Australians felt with the airline. In 2023, the program boasted over 16 million members, which equates to nearly 60% of Australia's population, making it one of the most successful loyalty programs globally. However, as Qantas' success continued, so did its growth and influence, and with that came new challenges. Alan Joyce, the company's CEO from 2008, became the focal point of much of the airline's more controversial actions. Joyce's leadership was crucial during the turbulent years of the global financial crisis and the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, when many airlines were forced to make difficult decisions, including layoffs and cancellations. However, it was during this period that Qantas began to face significant backlash. In the wake of the pandemic, Qantas found itself under fire for a number of reasons. As borders closed and travel halted, the airline was forced to cancel thousands of flights. Instead of offering refunds, Qantas opted to issue travel vouchers, which, to many customers' dismay, had expiry dates that were so short that many were unable to use them before the restrictions were lifted. This decision led to a class action lawsuit and further damage to the company's reputation. In 2023, Qantas removed those expiry dates, but the damage had already been done. As borders began to reopen, Australians found themselves facing higher ticket prices. According to industry experts, Qantas had significantly reduced its capacity compared to pre-pandemic levels, flying only about 50% of its previous flights. At the same time, airlines in other parts of the world were ramping up their operations, offering lower prices and additional routes. Qantas, however, chose a different strategy. Not only did they increase prices, but they also restricted competition. Qatar Airways, for instance, applied for additional flight slots into Australia to meet growing demand, but Qantas opposed this application, citing the risk of market distortion. This move was widely viewed as protectionist and led to further criticisms. Fortunately, recently, Qatar decided to lease its 777s to Virgin Australia, thus omitting bilateral air transport agreements and significantly increasing its capacity to Doha hub. But perhaps the most damning blow came when it was revealed that Qantas had been selling tickets for flights that it had already cancelled. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission filed a lawsuit against the airline in August 2023 after it was found that Qantas had been selling tickets for at least 8,000 flights that had already been cancelled, sometimes for weeks or even months. The airline had also delayed informing customers about the cancellations, with some passengers being left in the dark for up to 47 days. This was a clear violation of consumer rights and further highlighted Qantas' disregard for its customers. As these stories came to light, public opinion of Qantas plummeted. Despite the airline's record profits, which reached an astonishing $2.47 billion Australian dollars in 2023, many Australians began to feel betrayed. The company had received government support during the pandemic, yet it was unwilling to return the favor by supporting its customers. Instead, the airline focused on boosting profits for its investors, buying back shares, and awarding hefty bonuses to executives. Alan Joyce, who had been at the helm of Qantas for nearly 15 years, faced intense scrutiny as his retirement approached. In the face of growing pressure, Joyce announced his departure in September 2023, 2 months earlier than planned, leaving the company to confront a wave of legal challenges and a shattered reputation. In the aftermath, Qantas settled with the ACCC, agreeing to pay a fine of $120 million Australian dollars for its actions regarding cancelled flights. However, only a fraction of that money, $20 million, went to compensate the affected customers. The rest was designated as a penalty, a fact that further angered those who felt they had been wronged. Despite the mounting controversies, Qantas still dominates the Australian aviation market, operating more than 60% of all domestic flights. However, the airline's control over key airport slots and its protectionist tactics have raised concerns about the health of smaller airlines and startups in Australia, such as Bonza, which recently went bankrupt. So, Qantas, which was once a symbol of Australian pride, now stands as a cautionary tale about corporate greed and mismanagement. The airline's actions have left a bitter taste in the mouths of many Australians, and the question remains, will the airline ever regain the trust and loyalty of the people it once served so proudly? Only time will tell. Write in the comments below whether you still trust Qantas. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.